Hi, I'm Rick Albert, and welcome to The Key to the City of Angels, the podcast where we unlock the secrets of Los Angeles real estate. With over 300 real estate deals under my belt, I've seen it all, from house hacking strategies that build wealth to helping clients close multi-million-dollar deals in one of the most competitive markets in the world. Every week, I'll bring you expert insights, market trends, and inspiring success stories to help you navigate the LA real estate scene. Whether you're a first-time buyer, an investor, or just curious about what it takes to thrive in the City of Angels, this podcast is your guide to making smarter decisions and achieving your goals. So grab your keys. It's time to unlock your path to prosperity in Los Angeles real estate. Hello everyone, Rick Albert here with another great episode of The Key to the City of Angels. I'm super excited to have Sally Gimon here. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And so you're a tax educator, tax strategist, and I've had other tax people, but I know we're going to be talking about certain specifics, but give us how did you get into this? But then also kind of like what your specialty is so we know how to gauge the conversation.
I appreciate you having me, Rick. Thank you. I became a real estate investor in 2018 when my mom got sick. She got septic of the blood. She was on the ventilator for 13 months, in a hospital for 15 months. Thank God she got better, but her first month's hospital bill, emergency room, and on the ventilator, was $72,000. I needed to make a change in my life because I hated my job. I had 2 car loans because I was driving to work in Phoenix at 7 o'clock in the morning. Someone ran a red light, T-boned me, had no insurance. It was the best decision of my life. 2019, with my mentor, I wholesaled 7 properties nationwide, paid off all my debt, had $50,000 in my bank account. I was a great little real estate investor. COVID struck around March 17th, 2020. 3 of my properties that were notes did not pay me on April 1st, so no money's coming in. And on April 4th, my CPA called me. He actually called to say, congratulations, I made so much money in 2019. My tax bracket went from 22% up to 24%, and I owed $94,000 in short-term capital gains. I have $50,000 saved. What am I going to do? I took a HELOC off my paid-off house just to figure this out. And have you ever heard of a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy?
Heard of it, haven't had a chance to read it.
It's an old book. It's from the 1930s, so his examples are a little bit old. But his whole thing is put something in your mind when you go to sleep. I did this on April 5th. I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning going, you read an article about the Rockefeller Spendthrift Trust. Research it. If the Rockefellers can save taxes, why can't Sally save taxes? I started both my business and my beneficial trust September of 2000, started teaching in a mastermind, my real estate group in Phoenix, and I'm a student of Bob Proctor's Thinking into Results. When I had a falling out with the gentleman who ran the group, my coach said, Sally, you're playing too small, start your own business. March of 2022, I started www.thetrustisyou.com. The law firm I represent, Paul Benson, was a Harvard law professor. 77 years ago, he wrote 5 separate trusts to save specific taxes. You're not tax-free. But I get to help people save thousands of dollars. I love my job, and I'm still a real estate investor in the mornings.
Nice. Yeah, as we were talking about before this, I'm starting to have more conversations with some of my clients as I've helped them be able to buy these rentals and everything. Now they're getting hit with these big tax bills, right? Correct. That now they're starting to think bigger, especially here in LA. We have a lot of people that work in like the tech sector where they have stock options. Now they have to figure out ways to offset those, that sort of deal. So let's jump into it. What have you been seeing recently with some of these tax strategies that's actually been working for people like of today?
Correct. Paul Benson wrote 5 specific trusts. The 2 major trusts I sell, the business trust, saves federal income taxes, 90% on your federal income taxes, and no longer pay state income taxes. I can help anyone who is not a W-2 income earner. Unfortunately, when you work for a company, they take out your taxes before you get your paycheck. The beneficial trust is for any and all investors. You'll not pay capital gains when you sell something at a profit. You'll not pay interest income taxes. I personally have notes. I have 5 seller financing houses where people are going to hopefully buy the house from me or move out. You'll not pay dividend income taxes if you're in the stock market. You won't pay rental income taxes ever again, no matter what kind of real estate you have. and you'll no longer pay royalty income taxes. One of my clients, just to give you an idea, he's based in Connecticut. He has 5, let's call it multifamily homes, because they're these large homes that he turned into apartments. He does have a depreciation schedule on all his different properties, but still, we will save him over $72,000 a year in rental income taxes, and then all lawsuits become frivolous. So someone slips on a step, somebody falls out of a tree, he's got an oak tree in his front yard, his homeowner's insurance or his rental home insurance is going to cover the liability, but they can't come after all his other 5 properties.
And they can't go over his other properties because of how the trust and and LLCs are also structured.
Correct. So unfortunately, LLCs, S Corps, and C Corps are state law. What you do in California is not what I did in Arizona. I now live in North Carolina. Anyone can go online to the Secretary of State, to the Corporation Commission, and research LLCs, S Corps, and C Corps by either your name or by the LLC's name. 40% of them get sued every single year. With the beneficial trust and the business trust, all your assets are in the trust. Someone tries to sue me right now, I think I have $22 in my wallet. That's all I'm worth. All my assets are in my trust. So I can still get sued saying, hey, Sally, you're an idiot. And the only thing I have to do is send the first page of the trust to the person's attorney. The attorney, when they research, oh no, they have the irrevocable, complex, discretionary, non-grantor Spendthrift Trust. I'm not going to get any money on this. I'm going to give my client, give their client the money back. I don't know if they will.
Because oftentimes, my understanding is it's always cheaper to settle. So and then the attorney might get a commission off that settlement. So if there's no money to go after, the attorney's not going to spin their wheels.
Exactly. And I'm not trying to be political, but if you remember back when Donald Trump...
Let's do it.
Okay, Donald Trump was Hillary Clinton, I guess 8 years ago, and Hillary Clinton says you don't pay taxes, and he says, because I'm smart. His father, Frank Trump, started this trust in 1972. Donald and Frank Trump got sued by the city of New York for discrimination, and Frank Trump promised he's never going to be sued ever again. And so this is why I guess Donald Trump is a trust baby, if you want to say that.
It's interesting because when that came out, people are like, oh, he doesn't pay any taxes. I'm like, this is a good example of don't hate the player, hate the game.
Exactly. Find out what they're doing. There was a whole... do you watch Jeopardy? I love the show.
Yeah, on occasion.
And there was a question, and I'm like, oh, it's the 1%ers. And when that was going on, my friends, I went to happy hour, and I'm like, why are we protesting the stock market? Shouldn't we be finding out how those people are making the money, not because of the 1%ers? And my friends are like, oh, no, they're going to go away with taxes. I'm like, if I can find a legal loophole, not an illegal, a legal loophole, I'm glad I did. I'm not trying to crow, but with my beneficial Spendthrift Trust, I have a crypto bot that pays me every day, pay no taxes. I've wholesaled 28 properties, pay no taxes. I have 12 notes where I'm the paper in the house, people pay me their mortgage, pay no taxes, 3 rentals, and 5 seller financing houses. And it's all under the one EIN number, employee identification number. I did sit down with a private banker at Wells Fargo back in January of 2024 because one of my notes wasn't paying me on time. And I do have it set up. I've got 19 different accounts all under the same EIN number. And it's an amazing thing. I file a 1041 tax return, not a 1040, and it just says 0000 all the way down.
So I have a couple of questions after that one. Let's start with, how do you manage the 19 accounts?
I don't. My personal banker has set it up, so I do get...
Good answer. You delegate.
I delegate. He did set it up. Before that, back in January 2024, I had 8 notes, and all the money was going into one account, and I knew one of my accounts wasn't paying me on time because they paid me on the 10th or the 11th. I'm like, this is not going to work. So I set it up. I use a servicer to do my payments so they don't know who I am. And that note in Ohio, when they didn't pay me in June, in July, I was able to foreclose on them, and I made that into a seller financing house, which I don't know if you do seller financing, but someone put $20,000 down. They're paying me. We negotiate how much. They have 2 years, and then they have 3 choices. Hey, get their own mortgage, move out, or pay another $20,000, and we renegotiate the contract.
Yeah, seller financing has come up a lot. And especially because like interest rates are what they are. And I mean a lot of
Right.
like new investors. I want to find someone that does seller financing. I'm like, okay, how much you putting down? 0. I'm like, okay, what's your experience? Don't own any properties. Do you have any money in the bank? No. So you're going to try to convince a seller to do 100% financing on someone who has no experience.
Just give you an idea, Rick. 3 of my clients for the month of October. Do you know what's going on in Florida right now about the whole extra fee, $65,000 a year if you live in a condo 3 stories or higher?
There's a lot of issues going on in the condo world in
Oh,
Florida, but I don't
tons
know
of
that
yes.
specific one. Yeah. So if you don't mind clarifying.
So I'm not trying to make fun of people in Florida. I was an insurance agent for USAA, and we pulled out of Florida back in 2023. But all these fixed income people all of a sudden are getting a very high tax bill from the state because of, I forget the name of the condominium that completely
Surfside.
fell. So, thank you,
Surfside.
sir. Sorry.
Yep.
And these 3 different people, funny, they all know each other. So one told the other two, they're doing what's called Airbnb arbitrage at these condos in Orlando. The owners, one owner is, he and his wife are in their 70s. They can't afford to live there anymore. Nobody can sell their condos, so he's renting it out. He's 2 miles from Orlando. He pays them their mortgage, and then he makes anything above it. So it's a neat thing, and didn't have to put any money down. And he's done this. He has 7 different properties in Orlando doing that.
Yeah, it's basically subleasing, but your tenants, the Airbnb guests.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing it, but he's doing it. Correct. And the
Yeah.
homeowner, the 70-year-old people are still responsible for the homeowner's insurance, are still responsible for everything else. He's just, hey, I'm paying your $1,500 a month. I'm making $2,000 on this Airbnb. $500 is mine, and that would be rental income taxes because he started the trust. He's got 7 properties. He started the trust. He's just, I can get 3 more rentals next year. I'm like, yes, you can.
Yeah. Very nice. Now, when you mention on the liability side, one of the big things with the LLCs is like piercing the veil. So a
Correct.
lot of people are like, oh, I'm just going to have an LLC. And I'm having attorney after attorney tell me, but the judge is going to see right through that. The judge knows what your intention is. And so sometimes they throw it out the window. How is this any different?
I'm going to tell you a bad story. You remember O.J. Simpson, right? The
Who
speed chase
doesn't?
on the Los Angeles freeways.
Yeah.
He started both the businesses beneficial Spendthrift Trust. 6 years later, he breaks into a Las Vegas hotel room. OJ the man goes to jail. He lives in
Mm-hmm.
Florida. He gets out of jail. He goes to his country club, and the director's like, "You're a felon. You can't be here." And you're like, "My trust owns my membership. My trust has paid for my membership. I can stay here and golf as much as I want." Another crazy story for you. One of my clients, are you in a national? I'm in a national real estate group called Renatus. I went to the national
Mm-hmm.
meeting, sitting next to this guy. Michael has 100 doors in Chicago, wears a beautiful gold Rolex watch, a huge pinky ring. The guy has money. He likes to show his money. He's got the trust. I've never seen his RV, but let's call it a $250,000 RV with all the takeouts. Last year, he couldn't slow down for traffic. He hits the car in front of him that pushes her into the car in front of her. No one's injured, but one car got squished. His insurance card shows the trust name because the trust owns his $250,000 RV. Patrick's driver's license shows his Illinois address. 8 weeks after the accident, he gets a $900,000 pain and suffering bill, calls me going, "What the heck?" And I'm like, "Don't worry, send the first page of the trust to the attorney and it'll go away." "You just saved me $900,000. Like, I saved you a lot more than that.
Yeah, no kidding.
His insurance probably
Interesting.
went up. I can't help him on that.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And even for like on the liability side, for a lot of people, it's like, all right, here's your insurance. Then here's like an umbrella policy to cover any difference. But just so everyone's clear, the umbrella policy will only kick in after your main insurance actually kicks in.
Exactly. And now you can do away with that. And talking about the real estate side, one of my clients has apartment buildings and he's just, I'm going to up my liability on my insurance side, on the insurance side. But now I do away with this. He had a $10 million umbrella policy that he could cancel. And the
Wow.
cost on the umbrella policy almost covered the cost for the trust. And he's just, I'm paying that every single year.
Yeah. And it generally goes up, right? It just gets more and more expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah, these are. It's funny when I talk to people about the umbrella policy or talk to people about all this stuff. I'm like, this is like a good problem to have. It means you've put yourself in a position where you need this stuff.
Correct. I mean,
Okay,
my parents, just give you an idea, 97% of the trusts sold in the United States are what my mom and dad had, the family
sure.
trust or the living trust. My parents had that, and they were told still have an umbrella policy because they had three rentals. And I'm like, isn't that kind of you've got this family trust? Aren't you covered? My dad's supposedly we're not. I don't do the family trust. I just know with the Spendthrift Trust, the four ways you save, you'll save. All investors will no longer pay taxes. You'll keep your information completely private. Can't stop you from being sued, but all lawsuits become frivolous. And then you get to leave a legacy generation after generation.
So let's talk a little bit about that. I have this trust. I croak. Maybe I saved a child from a burning building, but I didn't make it. That way, at least it's something historic. Then everything goes to my kid. So how does that transfer occur? So does she now just take over the trust?
Correct.
Basically, is how it would
If
work.
you don't mind me asking, are you married or single or
I'm
divorced?
married. Yeah,
Okay.
happily married. Very happily married. Go ahead.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Depending on who's a trustee or trustees, I'm single. It wasn't
Okay.
the trust that stopped me. When I was in Phoenix, it was Wells Fargo. They're like, what if you get hit by a school bus walking out to your car? Okay. So my oldest nephew is my associate trustee. Let's say I get
Okay.
hit by lightning tonight. He takes over. My two brothers, my two sister-in-laws, and my seven nieces and nephews are all in the trust. They're beneficiaries. I get to decide, I've already written it up in case I do get hit by a school bus, how I'm going to break things up. I
Okay.
love my 17-year-old nephew in Hawaii. He's a surfer. His responsibility is not at the highest level, if that makes sense. So
Yep.
I can decide how people, who gets what and how much money. And I can leave this all to my oldest nephew, Gregory, who's 29, married with two kids. Gregory then becomes a trustee and he gets to decide what the beneficiaries get after my document is taken care of. And it goes
Okay.
generation to generation. Worst thing for you, Rick, let's say your great great grandson in 2095 says, you're crazy. I'm canceling the EIN number. I'm closing out the trust. Your great great grandson owes all the taxes in 2095. Anything you saved in 2025, 2026, 2030, 2040, all of that he'll never have to pay back. Do you know about the 1031 exchange
Yeah.
situation?
I've done it personally.
Okay. I have dealt with at least 25 adult children whose parents are maybe they had a stroke, maybe they had a heart attack, they don't know what they're doing. They didn't know that the property was a 1031 exchange property and they just sold it. All the capital gains that they had saved all of a sudden comes back to them and they have this massive tax bill. I'm like, I can't help you. That's previous history. And like the
Sure.
1031, what is it, 130 days or 160 days? I forget the dates.
So you have 45 days to identify properties, up to 3 properties. There's some exceptions. You have up to 180 days to close.
Correct. And it has to be like property for like property. And with the Spendthrift Trust, that all goes out the window. You'll save the capital gains. If you sold 5 single-family homes and you want to get to multifamily, be my guest. It's your money. Do what you like to do, and you have access to the money 24/7. Because when you do open up the new bank account that goes with that EIN number, you have a debit card and have access online.
Got it. So that's kind of like the big thing, right? So typically when people have a regular trust, it's like tied to their personal banking account. Here, it's like, no, and this kind of goes back to my question earlier about the whole like piercing the veil. No, this is clearly its own individual, quote unquote.
Correct.
Look, it has its own bank account, its own debt. Like it is its own entity, clearly.
Yes.
And that's what kind of
Yes.
helps with all of this.
Exactly. And again, being political, the last 4 years, I'm following what's going on with Donald Trump, and no one has pierced the veil yet. If you do
Yeah.
something illegal, the trust veil could be pierced, but
Sure.
I don't plan on doing anything illegal in my lifetime, hopefully.
But that's most people don't feel like going to jail.
Correct. And, I'm not saying he's guilty or he's not guilty, but they haven't pierced his veil, and he's still going.
Yeah, again, don't hate the player, hate the game. That's just, you get to a certain level, you kind of have to.
Exactly.
right?
Another story for you. One of my favorite actors, comedians, Robin Williams, unfortunately, he committed suicide, but he had the trust. He's got three adult
Hmm.
children. Because of his, I just watched Mrs. Doubtfire. They are
Hmm.
not paying any royalties because all his work is still generating royalties, even though he's passed away. And, what an amazing gift to leave for your family.
Yeah. And I had a conversation with someone recently about passing things on, and he's like, I'm going to make my kids work for it. I had to work for it. I'm like, yes, but there's like somewhat of a fine line. First of all, they can work for it, right? As my daughter's a toddler, but as she gets older, she's going to get involved. She's going to
Correct.
be on those calls. She's going to be doing a lot of those things because I want her to quote unquote earn the properties,
Correct.
right? That way she also understands.
Exactly. And again, not making fun of my 17-year-old nephew. He's the youngest. Youngest, got four older sisters who spoiled him rotten. That's all I'm going to say. The kid at 8 could not tie his own shoelaces because his sisters did
Wow.
it. But
Yeah.
how I have it set up right now, he's going to get $1,000 per month until he hits 30 years old, and then whatever's left in his account, he'll get the rest of the money. Because I do want him to go to college. I do want him to live a life, but not go crazy. I don't want him to be Paris Hilton or something like that.
They've done studies, and most generational wealth doesn't get past the third generation.
Completely. Do you know the story about Anderson Cooper?
No, tell me.
He's a Vanderbilt. The way he got
Okay.
his first, the Vanderbilts lost all their money.
Right.
The way he got his first reporting job, he lied about who he was, got in, and did a great interview. He's made his own fortune, but his mom,
Hmm.
I don't know how old you are, but Vanderbilt jeans were huge when I was in junior high school. My mom's like, I can't wear jeans to school. The people who know, the whole joke is keep the money in the family, and those
Right.
who don't lose it in 3 generations, correct?
And a lot of it's just not having conversations about money,
Exactly.
right? I knew someone growing up where they were handed everything, and he got this really nice Escalade, trashed it, got into an accident. Parents bought him a new one. There was
I
just
wish
no
I had parents like
concept.
that. I had my own.
I remember talking to a friend of mine. She's like, yeah, my son got into a car accident. Now we got to buy him a new car. I'm like, why? Why do you
Yeah.
have to buy him a new car?
Well,
He got into
all
the
the college.
accident.
But my dad, I don't know if you remember this, but there used to be bank books. So I have two
Hmm.
brothers. My bank book was the month of August. We used to have Sunday dinner. We can invite anyone we want to Sunday dinner. Just let my mom know within 24 hours. And once a month, my dad's like, Sally, you owe me $180 for car insurance. I need this money by tomorrow night. And I'm like, yes, Dad, I'll have it for you. We paid our own insurance. We paid for our own cars. Yeah, my dad was military. I think he trained
Mm.
my parents. I had a great childhood growing up, but he taught me how to do what I needed to do. And then when I got into a problem, yes, I panicked, but I did find a solution.
There's a solution to most problems.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So how have you applied some of that to all this that you've been working on? Is it more like the discipline, or like what how did all that correlate?
Correct. I do have 3 online businesses. I'm very lazy. One of the reasons for my investments, I'm trying to get rid of my 3 rentals because I don't want someone calling me at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'm a very passive investor. One
Okay.
of my first property in the trust, my mom, long involved story, my mom and dad, who lived in Goodyear, Arizona, drove to Charlotte for a wedding. That's when she got sick. She was in Pineville Hospital, North Carolina, for 9 months. I
Hmm.
purposely bought a bank owned reverse mortgage in North Carolina because I could write it off on my LLC and visit them. I bought it in
Sure.
July of 2020. I didn't start the trust until September of 2020. And I just had to do 2 simple bill of sales to move it from the LLC to my name to the trust name. I'm in Phoenix. The attorney's in Raleigh. I send him the documents. He's like, give me the first page. And that first property, bought it for 20,000. I knew it was going to go to auction for 50,000. So that 30,000 spread at 24% tax rate would be $10,317 in short-term capital gains. When it finally did go to auction because of COVID, August 28th of 2021, it went all the way up over to $64,000 without lifting a hammer. This is the way I like to invest. I got to make $44,000. At 24% tax rate, I got to save $10,365. I just put back into more real estate. And I don't have a huge empire, but I'm building it slowly and I love what I do. And today I talked to somebody he's a franchisee owner. With 2026 taxes, we're going to save him and his family in Ohio over $34,000. And he's just like, what can I do with this money? I'm like, put it back into your franchise, start a college fund, pay off your debt. He goes, I could pay off my house in 2 years. I'm like, yes, you can. Talk about giving people, empowering people.
Yeah. Now, when you're doing all these tax strategies, I can imagine a CPA might flip a lid, right? Not because they don't mind, like, but it's just, they don't want to do. Oh, I'm sure maybe, but like the risk is on the table, like audits, things like that. Like, why? How have CPAs reacted to some of this?
We just got a mandatory letter from the law firm today about this CPA firm that's sending out nasty letters. If your CPA says, here's a memorandum from the IRS, it's dated August 3rd, 2016, I might have the date wrong, where the IRS literally says they do not like the IRS tax code 643B. They do not like the irrevocable, complex, discretionary, non-grantor Spendthrift Trust. It's their opinion. Only Congress can change a tax code. It's the letter we got today was this CPA firm is telling people you've got to pay $30,000 so we can fix things. What Paul Benson, who wrote these 5 separate trusts, was a Harvard law professor. He used a book called Scott and Asher on Trusts, 5th edition. In 77 years, not a single trust has been audited. And if you get questioned by the IRS, the law firm's going to defend you free of charge. In 77 years, only one trust has been questioned by the senior IRS agent, and it was approved. The IRS agent went down to Texas, where the law firm is, spent 5 hours looking over the trust, and he approved it. I like what I deal with because it's a law firm. There's 5 trust attorneys on staff to help people. I spoke to an Atlanta real estate group, and a guy raises his hand. He's like, hey, I got the trust. This attorney put it together. I'm like, what kind of attorney was he? I don't know. I'm like, do you have his cell phone number? No. I'm like, what? He's got 9 Airbnbs. I'm like, if someone sues you, how do you know you're taken care of? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, I don't know either. Good luck.
Yeah. So what's the cost of setting up something like this?
Good question. One-time fee is $20,000. You will file a 1041 tax return. In 2019, I had 6 LLCs, so I had to do K1s by March 15th to put into my taxes by April 15th. I do have both my business trust and my beneficial trust. So I have 2 different EIN numbers and file 2 separate 1041 tax returns. And my taxes for 2024 were cheaper than what I did in 2019 with the K1s and everything else. I'm a little bit old school. I do everything on Excel spreadsheets. I just send it to the CPA. She sends me the paperwork to sign, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I wholesale 28 properties since having this trust, and I've not paid a single penny in short-term capital gains.
Very nice. So, $20,000 isn't necessarily cheap money. So at what point would someone want to set this up? Because I get it, like the savings are there when you reach a certain level. So at what phase? Because you say, oh, do it right from the start. But right from the start, someone may not have the $20K. So at what phase should they consider it?
I didn't think my mentor in 2019, we were doing bank-owned properties. Remember when Bank of America bought up Countrywide?
Countrywide, yep.
And all the paperwork was all messed up. One of the properties I got was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Okay.
I had to convince to the bank they owned this property. They're like, we don't own this property. I'm like, I know you own this property. The husband and wife are now divorced. He's in the military over in Japan. She's remarried in San Diego. I want to buy this property from you. They go out to inspect the property in Coeur d'Alene. I don't know if you've ever been to Idaho. Beautiful on this lake. And they're like, there's a hole in the ceiling. Why do you want the roof caved in? I'm like, I have both of these people have signed off saying they know. It was 13 years ago. They thought the house was out of their system already, but the bank still owned it. The bank sold it to me for $7,000. I wholesaled it to somebody in Coeur d'Alene because I'm in Phoenix. I wholesaled it to somebody in Coeur d'Alene for $50,000. I made
Wow.
$43,000 on one deal in 2019. My tax bill for 2019 was $93,000. I wish I had this trust in 2018 before I started doing this. So what I try to do, just to give you an idea, if you're a wholesaler or a fix and flipper, if you make $50,000 on a deal at 22%, you're going to pay, God, I just gave myself, if you do two deals in 1 year, you've paid off the trust. Let's say you make $50,000 at 22%, you're going to pay $50,000. I think I might give you the wrong numbers. I'm dyslexic. I'm sorry. But you'll think about that. The more real estate you do, or the more with crypto, it's scary. Are you in crypto at all?
Not personally. I know that conceptually. I like to invest in things I touch.
Okay.
So that's why I
Well,
really like real estate. It's like no matter what, you got that roof over your head.
and between you and me, there's a housing shortage. I have
Yeah.
several subject to properties too, and I'm like, hey, they paid me during COVID. It was the most beautiful thing. So
Yeah.
you got paid no matter what happens. But
Right.
with crypto, even if you bought your crypto back in 2017, the federal government says it's short-term capital gains. So
Right.
one of my clients, true story, he's a mailman up in upstate New York. He was going to sell. Spent $1,000, got 4 crypto coins, and he was going to sell 2 of them to pay for his son's college at SUNY School, State New York School. Saw my video, contacts me, and I'm like, on April 15th of 2024, your tax bracket is going to go up to 37%. I'm a mailman. I'm not making that kind of money. So I put him in contact with a partner of mine who can get either personal loans or corporation loans if you have an LLC, S Corp, or C
Mhm.
Corp. So he could get money for that. Only situation, he had to keep the loan open for 6 months. He then talked to Coinbase, how to get their paperwork, fill it out. It took him about 8 weeks to get everything worked out. His son took out student loans for his first semester. Dad got to sell the 2 crypto coins, not pay any capital gains, and he's told more friends. I have an affiliate program, and he's telling his other friends. His friend who got him into crypto, he spent $5,000 on crypto in 2017. I don't know how many coins he has, but I wish someone told me about crypto in
Right.
2017.
It's one of those things where I don't get it, and then now it's worth tons of money. But I also didn't understand Airbnb in the beginning. I was like, who's gonna let
Exactly.
some stranger into your house? The only one I've been right so far is kind of like the metaverse. People are like, why aren't you investing in the metaverse? I'm like, because even people in the metaverse need a real house. Like, I was like, I don't. They can go to a concert in the metaverse, go for it. And I haven't heard anything about the metaverse recently.
I bought a friend of mine's a huge Patriots fan. I bought a signed
Okay,
Tom Brady picture in the metaverse. That's all I've done.
that's
Yes.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no, again, it's just like you have to understand it. You know,
Warren Buffett kept talking about the reason he bought Wrigley's gum is because he can chew gum. He didn't know about crypto, but now he's in crypto. So
sure, and he can afford the staff to figure it out.
exactly.
You delegate, you talk to experts, all that kind of stuff. I tell people I'm a smartass, not a know-it-all. So if I don't know the answer, I'll find someone that does.
Thank you for having me on this, Rick, because now you have the answer. I'll never again pay taxes on any of your profits.
There you go. Now, are there any laws that you've heard of, seen coming down the pipeline that might make some changes that we should be aware of that might involve all this?
I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not trying to
Of
be
course not.
facetious, but the Congress can't even keep the government open right now. With
Fair.
this trust, living in California, I don't know if you realize this, there's federal capital gains, and in California,
Hmm.
there's state capital gains. State of California also charges interest income taxes if you do seller financing or have notes. With this trust, you're going to save all your capital gains either on the federal level and the state level. It's another thing they're talking about. I don't know who your audience is, but one of the things I help people with, if you're on Medicare, 65 or older, and you make
Hmm.
too much money, as a single person, it's $106,000. They don't care if it's from Social Security, from pensions, from wages, 401k withdrawals, SEP withdrawals, capital gains, anything else. Every October, the IRS goes back 2 years. So this October, they went back to 2023 and looked at all tax returns. And anyone on Medicare, single, 106,000, married, 212,000. If you're making too much money, it affects your Part B of Medicare, which are your doctors and your tests, and your Part D of Medicare, which are your prescriptions. One of my clients who's did very well in the stock market, live off their dividends, they saw my video, and I'm saving each of them per person $485 a month, just under what's called IRMA, the surcharge for Medicare, plus saving them their dividend income taxes. They were at 35% tax bracket. And the husband's, I could buy more stock. And the wife's, I could go get a fur coat. Whatever
Right.
you want to do. So, yes. But they say 3.5 million people on Medicare, boomers who are turning 65, are unaware of this. And $485 per person per month, that's a lot of money that the government was charging them. And they had been on Medicare for 15 years. Do the math. That's a heck of a lot of money.
And not everyone can afford it. Because like even if you make six figures, if you're in a high cost of living area, money doesn't go as far.
Exactly. I was on TikTok today and someone's talking about they found a $1,000 house. I'm like, where? And he's like, rural Indiana. I'm like, okay.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good buy.
Exactly.
Right? I see people, buy in parts of Detroit. I'm like, you do know there's blocks of vacant homes in Detroit.
My good friend from high school is a Baltimore City cop, and anytime I get something, he's no sound. Don't not this year.
Right? Yeah, I work with some of my investments self-managed, some we have a property manager. And for me, the biggest value to the property manager is if I'm analyzing a property out of state, if they won't manage it, I won't buy it.
Exactly. I use a servicer for my 12 notes. They're the ones who deal with collecting the money and everything else.
Yeah.
And they're the ones, that's how I found out my property in Ohio was paying me late. And when I was able to put everything together, at this time I'm living in North Carolina, I was able to contact the judge, do it all electronically. I didn't have to drive to Ohio. And they're like, this isn't fair. I'm like, you're not paying your mortgage. How is this not fair? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. It gets challenging. And not everyone's understanding, and that's a whole nother podcast, a whole nother conversation about what's going on. But no, as we wrap this up, because I really appreciate you coming on, what's like the big takeaway in all this? That where people need, if they want to get started, if this is like for them, how do they know it's for them? Let's do that.
First off, I wish I started real estate investing much earlier. I had gone to several courses in my 20s and didn't start real estate investing until I was 53 years old. If you're a good real estate investor and you think you're paying too much in taxes and you want to find out a solution, I have a free masterclass at www.thetrustisyou.com. Just have it in your quiver. Maybe you don't need it today, but maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year from now. All we want to do, I don't know about you, Rick, but I just want to keep building my empire a little bit my goal for 2025 is to add 6 new properties to my repertoire, and I did that so far.
Very nice. All just in different states, different locations?
I purposely moved to North Carolina. I do this very odd thing called upset bids. It's an archaic law before it became a state. If it's a tax lien or if it's a foreclosure, they announce on the courthouse steps like they do every place else. But in North Carolina, you win a house for $10,000. Depending on which county I'm in, I either have 10 business days or 10 calendar days to go in and pay $10,750 more. Now, I've won the house in that 10-day window. It keeps going. I came out here Christmas of 2021, celebrated Christmas with my brother and his family in Charlotte. I won 3 upset bids because Mecklenburg County was 10 business days. They didn't count Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And they were in Union County. And my brother's, I wholesaled the 3 properties. He's like, did you rob a bank? What the heck are you doing? And it's just an easy way to do real estate here.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I am a firm believer that, especially now with all the resources available, like anyone can make money. And I don't think you have to make it overly complicated either. I think that's one of the things I'm noticing in real estate with a lot of beginner investors is they're trying to overcomplicate it.
I have a class on the Great Discovery, how I taught my friend Ingrid. How do I explain Ingrid? She's a Six Sigma computer person, doesn't do real estate. We contacted a real estate agent. This is in Mecklenburg County. When the moratorium on paying your mortgage because of COVID finished in May of 2023, her zip code had 369 houses. My zip code had 224 houses. I showed her how we could go door knock. We had the name and we had the address. She wanted to do it as cheaply as possible. So we got blue sticky notes. We door knocked 10 houses on Saturday, 10 houses on Sunday, and left the message and had a squeeze page website where they would get a document, how to save your home. From her doing this for 6 weeks, she got 3 houses under contract, made I don't know how much money, and she said, I'm not doing this anymore. I hate door knocking. I'm like, I just showed you how to pay off your house, but this is a true story. Actually, 5 houses down from where my brother and sister-in-law lived, he was working for a company and they were moving to Houston. They're going to put him up in corporate housing for 3 months. I'm going to be honest, it was keeping up with the Joneses. She drove a BMW, he drove a 250 truck, 2 kids, 2 dogs. The real estate agent wanted them to do 19 things to put the house on the market. First 4 things, redoing the kitchen, redoing the tile, redoing the carpeting, was going to be over $100,000. They were living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh.
I told them, hey, have the movers come in, pack you up. I'm going to pay your mortgage for the month of June, and I'll pay your electricity, your lights, everything else, and I'll give you $50,000. The real estate agent who gave me the list, I asked her to do an open house. I had to buy the food, so I spent $40 for a 2-hour open house. The area we were in was a top-rated high school. This family comes in, the wife, I smell dog urine. I'm like, yeah, the dog peed on the carpet. The carpets have to be, here's the list of 19 things to be done. We got in a bidding war. We paid off their mortgage. The real estate agent made $7,400 on that 2 hours. They got $50,000, and I personally made $145,000 on one deal.
Wow.
That was all for less than $100, getting the website, getting the food, getting everything else. And my friend Ingrid's just, yeah, I sold 3 houses. I wholesaled 3 houses. I'm like, you can still keep doing it. And she's like, yeah, don't like doing that. So yeah, she did it for 6 weeks. I'll give her credit.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, she at least tried. Right?
Exactly.
Because it's not for everyone. It's really not. And even to your comment, so yes, I'm a real estate agent. I don't like a lot of other real estate agents. And part of it's for exactly what you just described. Like, to ask someone to spend $100,000 makes absolutely no sense.
Correct. And she gave me the list for free, and I got several other properties, not as much, but I'm just like, hey, I need to do an open house, because I went to all the neighbors saying, I'm putting this $100,000 under ARV, after repair value, because the house wasn't bad. It just needed to be updated. And I'm like, do you mind doing an open house and doing the contract? And she's like, you're going to pay me to do this? I'll be there. So yeah, she made 3%.
Yeah. So there you go. Good for her. Everybody wins. But yeah, with the remodeling, especially nowadays, because cost of construction's gotten so high, it's more for
you don't like it. Maybe you like gray walls. Maybe
right?
Purple walls.
I was trying to get a listing once, and I didn't get it because I told her exactly that. She's, oh yeah, I'm thinking about redoing the kitchen and redoing the floors. I'm like, okay, what about the windows? What about the windows? I'm like, the windows are old. Where do you start? Where do you stop? Tell me about, what were you thinking for remodeling? I was thinking about this floor and this countertop. I'm like, everything you just mentioned was really popular a few years ago, but it's not anymore.
Correct.
Needless to say, I did not get the listing. But I also had to tell her the truth. It's just like, you're about to spend money where you don't need it. Sell it as is. It was almost a fixer tear down. Just sell it to a developer. Move on.
Exactly. And this house that had dogs had peed on the carpet. The people are coming in. I'm like, the kitchen hasn't been remodeled. The people who had lived there for 13 years, their mortgage became, instead of a 30-year mortgage, became a 32-year mortgage, because they put 18 months of their mortgage onto the tail end. And they're like, they were going to let it go to foreclosure. They have a little blip on their credit report, but not bad. And the people who came in, they're like, that kitchen's 23 years old. I'm like, you've got $100,000 to fix the kitchen any way, which way you like. And they can do it the way they want, if that makes sense.
Totally, 100%. And that's usually the best route to go.
Yeah, I made good money. It was a win-win situation for everybody.
I was going to say, yeah, everybody won. This has all been really good, Sally. Thank you so much for coming on. How can people get a hold of you?
I appreciate that. I have my free website, www.thetrustisyou.com. When you go out there, you're going to get a free masterclass. You can set up an appointment with me at www.thetrustisyou.com. Scheduling. Again, people have questions. It sounds too good to be true. The gentleman I talked to this morning, he's just like, how come I've never heard of this? I'm like, it's a secret of the rich. So I appreciate being on podcasts like yours, Rick. But if someone has questions, I'm here to help them.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for watching or listening. And I will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in to The Key to the City of Angels. I hope you found today's episode helpful as you navigate the world of Los Angeles real estate. Whether you're looking to buy your first home, expand your investment portfolio, or sell in this competitive market, I'm here to help you succeed. Let's connect. Visit my website or follow me on social media to learn more about how I can help you achieve your real estate goals. And if you're ready to take the next step, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to work with you. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might benefit. Together, let's unlock your potential and make your real estate dreams a reality.